Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and this is officially my 200th episode. Joining me for this very special episode are Paul Ragsdale and Angelica De Alba, the filmmaking couple behind such films as Streets of Vengeance, Slashlorette Party, I always mess that up, Murdercise, and their brand new movie, Onlyfangs. Welcome to the show.
Hey man, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Angie
uh,
will be here in any second.
yeah, yeah.
Running a little bit late.
Yeah. So yeah, Angie is absent at the moment, but she'll come in midway through. So um but yeah, it's great to have you guys on here. I've been hoping to get you guys on for a while, but I knew you guys were really busy getting the movie done and what a movie it is too. It's
No.
definitely a and it seems like it's a big hit, even bigger than Murder Size was at this point. So
Yeah, I mean definitely. I mean, and it hasn't even, gone to streaming yet. The physical media hasn't been released yet, and it's,
right.
already gained a lot of buzz, positive. We just had our premiere, and then at the theater that we premiered at, they liked it so much they wanted it back. So now we're doing another 3-day run at the end of this month at the
That's
State
awesome.
Theater in Modesto.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's great. That's really awesome. And that's kind of what, brings you on. I want to talk to you about OnlyFans, of course, but I kind of want to get into it with you guys about kind of your whole career. And talk about, all, as many of the movies as we can and,
Sure.
talk about what got you into things and, and everything else that kind of revolves around that. Because you guys are doing this from the ground floor. You guys are just
Right.
crowdfunding these, making your own stuff, and getting quite a bit of buzz. Murder Size was pretty big, and then
Yeah.
now OnlyFans seems to be even bigger. So,
Right.
it's definitely a a I think you guys are kind of riding a good high there, and I hope that you guys will, continue to, make really good stuff, in the future that will, just be bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
So,
no, thank you. Yeah, it has been quite a journey, that's for sure.
so, when did you guys start getting into filmmaking, and how did you guys start getting into that?
Well, us as a couple, we started doing films together around 2010. We had met actually in film school, film
Okay.
class at Modesto Junior College. That's where we met, fell in love with her and became a couple. And then after we left school, we just did like, the life stuff, getting jobs, getting a place to live, moving out, all that kind of stuff, getting a house. And then so we got a house like in 2009, and then in 2010, I wanted to get back into it. I thought about, hooking back up with my friends from Modesto Junior College, from our college film school days, and they kind of moved on to do this and that. Our friend Dan Zampa, he was still doing videography work, but he was not living in the area at that time. So Angie and I decided just to do it ourselves. Like we'll just team up and make our own movie and use local talent from the area, new talent, which we had to go out and scout and look at theater students from the Modesto Junior College, where like I said, where we started, and
Right.
then we just really wanted to get into genre filmmaking. I wanted to embrace my roots as a kid. Because when I was in film school, I wanted to be like Tarantino, Scorsese, all that
Right.
kind of stuff. A big film
Yeah.
snob. And that was great, making those movies and those short films and everything. But my background is horror. That's where I grew up watching as a kid. That's where I grew up. That was my favorite genre as a kid. So I decided maybe I should embrace that for our first movie or our first film together, and that turned out to be Cinco de Mayo, which was
Right.
supposed to be a short film. Actually, it was supposed to be a trailer because we wanted to make a trailer like in the vein of like, Machete from Grindhouse, Robert
Right.
Rodriguez
Right.
trailer, with the Mexican, slasher villain or holiday slasher. And then developed the trailer, then developed into a short film, and then it eventually became a feature film. So that became our first feature as A and P.
Mm, yeah. No, I definitely, yeah, I think that's really cool. That because I went to college. I went to the University of New Mexico when I was young, and I went to do filmmaking as well.
Oh,
They had
cool.
just opened up a filmmaking degree, um, and so you're learning, and this is because I'm a little bit older than you. So this was back in the late 90s.
Okay.
So like 90, I want to say it was probably around 97.
Okay.
Is when I started. And I only went to college for a couple of years. I'm not good with schooling.
Mm,
So I did okay in my film classes, but they were the only ones I wanted to pay attention to, and so I wasn't
yeah.
doing good in the other classes.
Yeah.
Um, and so problem was I had gotten married and we had a kid, and so there was a lot of pull um time wise and stuff.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately I never got to do that. And I
Yeah.
don't have any regrets, obviously. Like, I love my kids and
Yeah.
everything. Life happens.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
but yeah, I have the same kind of like filmmaking, like heroes and stuff like that. Tarantino, Kevin Smith was one of mine as
Yep.
well. I wanted to do something. I wanted to do stuff that was kind of in that vein, kind of like
Mm,
crime noir, like
yeah.
comedy style things and everything. Just
Yeah.
real goofy things. I was big into Lynch at the time, David Lynch at the time. So
Hmm.
but yeah. So that's what I want to
Yeah.
talk to you about too, is like, in that vein, obviously, you mentioned Tarantino and Scorsese and horror movies. What else has influenced you in terms of that? I noticed that definitely you guys have a French New Wave influence. Was that because of Tarantino and his influences, and you went back to that to kind of like discover that?
Actually, the French New Wave, I mean, yes, we are really big fans of French New Wave, Godard and Truffaut and Chabrol. That actually came from Scorsese because my cousin
Right.
at the time, he had given me a book, Scorsese on Scorsese. And it's a great book. It's about interviews, Scorsese's interviews, all collected into one book. So he's
Mm.
talking about his days of studying film and stuff. And he named off all these people, Fellini, Rossellini, uh, um, Antonioni and all these people, and he talked about the French New Wave a little bit in there, and talked about Vera Sylvie. So like that really like sparked my brain, and I wanted to go search out his films or the films he talked about. And Scorsese also had a documentary, I forget what it's called, but it's about film and it's about American film, and he goes through like the entire journey from start to like maybe early 60s. I think he stopped around 60s because that's when his contemporaries started making movies and stuff.
Right.
But anyway, I think it's called America. My Personal Journey into American Film, I think it's called. And that's a
Mhm.
great documentary. I recorded it off of TCM, and I used to watch it all the time because he would show clips of just all these movies that are just, cinematic masterpieces. And he talked about all these directors, not just John Ford and Preston Sturges, but he talked about foreign directors too. Oh, and he also did another one called My Voyage to Italy, which is about Italian cinema as well. So those two, oh, there you are. Angie's joining us.
Yes. Hi. I'm so sorry I'm late.
Hello
Hi
there.
there.
Turn this on.
Good to meet you.
It's good to
There's
meet you too.
Robert.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just telling him about our other influences besides horror and stuff, and we're talking about like French New Wave, and I was saying that Martin
Yes.
Scorsese was a big influence on me, and that's who I wanted to be in film school and Tarantino and stuff like that. But yeah, we
Yeah.
Right.
have we pull from a wide range of film influences.
Yeah. Wes Anderson for me is a
Oh,
very,
yes. Yeah.
like,
I'm a
very
big Wes
arts.
Anderson fan.
Yeah. Oh, what's your favorite?
Oh man.
Hard to pick.
It is really hard to pick. I don't know.
I mean, Rushmore is a great one that
Rushmore's
comes to
good.
mind.
Like, yeah, I like
Moonrise
Moonlight
Kingdom.
Kingdom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Um,
Moonrise Kingdom. That's my
yeah,
favorite one.
Moonrise Kingdom. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my big favorites. It's one that never really gets talked about in terms of stuff.
I
Everybody talks
know.
about like the big ones and some of the new ones and stuff,
Exactly.
and that one's like sits there right in the middle. And I don't know. I really dug that one. It was really cute.
Me too. I
So
love the colors, and
yeah.
Wes Anderson's like really into that symmetry. So his
Oh, I
shots
love
are always
that.
like
Yeah.
very symmetrical and very methodical in his choices of setting up the
Framing.
camera angles. Yeah, the framing and
Yeah.
costuming and the sets. He's like super particular about
Right.
everything, and I kind of love that approach.
Yeah, Wes Anderson definitely. You can see the influences in our films. They're subdued, but they are there. Especially when Angie's doing her like costuming and things like that, and color
Yeah.
palette. And so yeah, so Wes Anderson for her, Tarantino, Scorsese for me primarily. So we try to infuse those, French New Wave, obviously. Try to infuse those
Right.
into our films. Even in the, in Onlyfangs, you'll see that come out with the character that Meredith Moeller plays. She's into French New
Yes.
Wave movies
Yeah.
and the way she dresses and everything. So that was the Tarantino, Truffaut, Godard influence, film geek influence that we put in there.
Right. No, and I think that's what's really fun about OnlyFans too, is OnlyFans feels like a synthesis of like kind of like all of your influences
Yeah.
that I've noticed so far in your work,
Yeah.
it kind of distilled into one movie. It's kind of like, and that's what I think is fun about OnlyFans, is that it really does feel like you guys, it's a love letter to everything you love about movies.
Yeah,
Right.
More so than even
exactly.
your other ones, where the other ones were very, they do have those touches, but you guys were specifically going for certain kinds of movies, whereas
Yeah.
this one's definitely a vampire horror comedy, but with everything else in there as well. So
Yes.
Exactly. Nobody has pointed that out yet,
Yeah.
actually. So
No.
that's a
Just one.
good observation. It's
oh,
exactly
thank you.
true. We can't help but be ourselves and
Yeah,
share the things that are our favorite things in film,
right.
and I think it just comes in together in this big weird buffet of a movie. So it's a little bit of everything to choose
I
from.
think it's because the movie was big enough to be able to handle all those things.
Yeah,
So we could do our Tarantino-esque epic intro with the girls
right.
walking across town and stuff, that's pure Django. We could do
Yeah,
things like that because it's big enough to handle it. Whereas, like you said, like something like Murdercise, it's very, very contained. It's all
yes,
aerobics, horror related, so there's not much room
right.
for Tarantino stuff there or Wes Anderson stuff there.
Right. No, that's great. No, I think that's that's something that I've noticed with your filmmaking. And I kind of went back and rewatched a bunch of your stuff. I watched the movies. I didn't get the chance to rewatch the shorts and stuff.
Mhm.
But going back and rewatching a lot of the movies again, you can see the growth not only in how you guys are making the movies, but just in terms of your movie making itself. Um, I can definitely tell there's been a lot of learning and growing in that um OnlyFangs and Murdercise itself, but even with OnlyFangs seems like a really big step up in terms of everything. Like, the writing, the acting on, a lot of the people's part that have been in your stuff before, their acting is better. The direction, and the cinematography, Dan Zampa's cinematography definitely was much more elevated in this movie than in your past projects. So
Right. Yeah,
I can
yeah, and
tell,
he
yeah,
had said that too. He was like, "Oh yeah, I think I'm better now." Like when we were first having like discussions, he's like, "No, I think I can do more things." Like he has more better equipment and lenses and
right,
just more control over mastery over his skill. And I was like, "Oh yeah,
yeah,
man,
Right.
let's
And
do it."
after, I mean, we've worked with Dan quite a few times now, so he's very familiar with our style of how we work as
right,
well.
Right.
So there's definitely a built-in level of trust
Yeah.
there where he's like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay, they might be requesting this like really weird sequence, like dreamy lighting. I get it because I know what they're going for now." So
right,
I think it's kind of we've developed this shorthand
Yeah.
so that he knows what we're going for. He understands our style. There's no need for him to like question, like, "Do you guys are you sure you know what you're doing?" Because he's worked with us before. So now it's
right.
like, okay, they have a vision, and I could just trust if they say frame it like this, then I can trust that that's what they know what they're doing at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, like you said, he just picks up like it's secondhand and he's just prepared, and in the past, it's always been like, man, you guys move really fast, way faster than he was used to, like on being on corporate sets or even other
Right.
film sets. It's like we're moving like really fast, we're getting a lot done. And he's like, well, I would take a lot of time to do something because just he's just so meticulous.
Yeah.
So this one has been like the culmination of we have a certain amount of time or we don't have a certain amount of time
Right.
and we need to achieve this. So he's like, all right, I have 2 lights. Let's set them up. Maybe a third one if we need it, if we have time. He's always like, "Do we have time for this? Do we have time for that?" And it's like, yeah, we can make a little bit of time, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes, we don't.
Dan's been really impressive just from the beginning because he's very much like us about like we don't wait around for a crew of people to do it. So he's like a one man band in
Mhm.
the sense of all the gear and the camera and the lighting. He does it all himself. And
Right.
as far as like directing and producing, that's just me and Paul. We don't have assistants or like a crew. There's no
Right.
guys that are standing around holding the microphones. It's literally
Yeah.
one of us
Right.
two.
If I need Drew Marvick on the set, I gotta go out and go get
One of
him.
us will go
Say,
get
hey,
them.
Right.
let's go.
We're keeping everybody on task with
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like
Right.
really Dan is part of our little Three Amigos
Yeah.
crew here. So we've all been learning and growing together over the years. So I think that was such a huge compliment for you to have seen our previous work and see the progress over the years because the three of us have been going at it just
Yeah.
us for so long. So it's nice to see that someone else sees that in us. And we all
Yeah.
went to film school together, so it's a pretty cool journey that we've all been on together.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Long.
and that, and talking about that, I mean, that seems like the very nature of indie filmmaking, like really like low budget independent filmmaking, like that you guys do, is you have to do all that. Like, there's no way you can afford to hire like random people to do all those extra jobs and everything,
Yeah.
and especially with the speed that you have to do it because you only have so much time. Like,
Yeah.
you can't go to a location and go, okay, we're going to be able to do this for days upon days. You're like, we got today, and
Yep.
we got to get all the
Exactly.
shots we got to do today in this for the whole movie. So let's get it all done. And I'm sure,
Right.
between the costume changes and everything like that, it's a whirlwind.
Oh,
So,
you're
Exactly.
bringing back trauma. I'm remembering the days, the long. Oh my God.
I know. Actually, it's funny that even you are picking up on that, having never even been on our set, because even the actors we work with don't even it doesn't really cross their mind because they're there to play their role. So
right,
they're not really paying attention to anything else that's going on. So when they look back in their memory, they're just like, "Oh, that was such a fun day. Remember when we did this, and then we had In and Out for lunch, and then we were over there taking pictures and dancing and doing stuff for our
Mhm.
Instagram." And meanwhile, we're on the other side of the wall, like, "Okay, we have 10 minutes
dressing
for
out.
this, and then
Yeah,
we have to move over here,
Wedding,
and then this person has to leave at
tire.
5, so we have to do this before they leave." They
Yeah.
have no they have no recollection of any of that chaos
I
that's
think
going on behind.
Yeah.
I think part of that is because I am on your Patreon and I do get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and so I think that I have a little bit of extra knowledge that maybe some other people don't. So
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for that. You get the
yeah, of
extras,
course.
the
No,
behind the scenes.
I love being able to see all the extra stuff and
That's
everything,
so
all
awesome.
that making of stuff. Again, as I told Paul, I'm a ex film school student myself that never got to get to where you guys are. So being able to, I always love behind the scenes stuff and making of documentaries and stuff like that. That kind of stuff always is fascinating for me to watch.
Me too.
So
Thank you
being
so
able
much
to
for that.
see that behind the scenes for you guys is just a lot of fun. So
Oh, that's so cool. I always wonder if I'm like, does anyone even care about this stuff? Like, does anyone want to know? Or is it just like we think it's interesting and everyone else is like, we don't care. But I
I,
think people who are
I watch it
filmmakers,
all. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, people who appreciate film and how it's made and just like the thought process that goes into some of the creative choices, I think that's pretty much who we're aiming for. So the fact that
right.
you're that guy, it's like, oh
Yeah,
yes, we actually get to talk to someone who has that like
Appreciate it.
similar mindset as us.
yeah.
We're a little, I mean, it's not an insult. I mean this with love, but you're a little crazy like us. If you ever wanted to be a film
Oh
major or
yeah.
film student or make a movie, you have to be like a little crazy because
Yeah.
Oh,
it's so
definitely.
hard.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, even on
definitely.
this movie, we got a lot of like, do you guys know what you're doing?
Oh yeah.
Is this gonna happen? Could
Yeah,
you guys even pull this off? Some people are like, I don't know if you can pull this off.
we definitely had
So
people
the
question
fact that
like,
we made this movie and like we had the premiere and everything, it was like climbing a mountain. I've used this before. It's like we
Well,
did it.
that's so funny though too that anybody would question you on that because you do have a at least a few movies under your belt
Right,
already that you've made and
right.
put out, so
And
that
some of
are
those people
on
were in those
Tubi,
movies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, that's kind
Yeah.
of crazy that they would even
Yeah.
question that.
I thought it was crazy.
I had faith in you. That's why I helped crowdfund.
Thank you.
Oh,
See,
thank
Yeah.
people
you.
like you guys,
You're the ones that feed into our
you
delusions.
guys had faith in us.
Exactly.
We're like, he believes in us. We can do this. We got this. We have
Which I
to,
appreciate.
Robert.
Yeah, hey, and I appreciate it as a fan and as somebody who wants to see the movie. I definitely appreciated that the movie came out. So,
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
actually, yeah, that's true. Ultimately, I mean, we're kind of joking, but it actually is true. Sometimes there's been a lot of times where we're like, can we just cut this whole scene, or can we just why do we even care? Like, why are we trying so hard? And then in the end, it's like, no, we want to give the best
You
experience
got it.
possible. There's people that actually cared. There's people who are helping us. They're supporting us on this journey. They are excited for this project, and we have to try and deliver the best thing that we can possibly give. So
That's the light at the end of the
in
tunnel.
the end of the day, we're just like, we're gonna do it. We don't care if it kills us. We have to do this so we can try and deliver something good.
right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about some, the crowdfunding in general, because this is your fourth time crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you previously did Streets of Vengeance, Slashlorette, and Murdercise before Onlyfangs. And each one I noticed was a little bit more successful than the last one, with this one being the absolutely most successful. And I think a lot of that definitely piggybacks on the goodwill from Murdercise, and so many
Yes.
people having seen that via Tubi and wherever else they saw it at. So
Oh yeah.
because seeing how Streets of Vengeance had only had like a little $1,500
Yeah.
thing that you guys seem to only barely make.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, you guys didn't have the track record back then, so
Right.
it makes sense, and because previous to that, you'd only made 3 other movies, and you made those just on your own dime, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That's Cinco de Mayo, La Soldadera, and Rough Cut.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my
Correct.
gosh.
You're
I
on.
own them. I own them all. So
Whoa, you own
yeah,
them? Oh my
I do. I own
gosh.
them all on disc.
All
So
collection.
Oh wow.
yep.
Thank you so much. That's incredible.
Thank
Yeah, and
you.
see, and when we sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say, yeah, when we did Streets of Vengeance, it was only $1,500 we raised, but for us, it was like we got people who didn't know us to notice us and for them to get what we were trying to make. And that was, worth more than anything, that people want to support us and having no idea what the movie is. Maybe they saw some, like we did, we did do promos and pictures and things like that. So that's where we learned how to market it and everything. And that is what led up to the success of Murdercise, because that is the one that people were commenting to us that, oh man, this thing's going viral. And we're like, viral? Like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by viral? And people were saying, yeah, like the promo, like the girls in their leotards and spandex is going viral. I was like, oh shit, okay, well, great. And then we did earn like the most we've ever done before, and that was such a huge surprise. And then when the movie came out, people did love it, and just that scene between Jessa and Drew, that scene alone
Right.
won awards. Like there are other websites that gave that an award just for that scene, or just Jessa for like her nudity and her performance and everything. It's like, wow, okay. It's like we got
It is a
noticed
very
by
memorable
people.
scene. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did start to spread like wildfire, and so yeah, that definitely contributed to then us doubling Murdercise's contributions amount with the OnlyFangs with 60,000. So
yeah, it's interesting that you brought up our very first campaign, because we had already done, like you mentioned, 3 feature films prior to launching a campaign.
Yeah.
The whole point was that we wanted to prove to ourselves, like, well, we want to make sure we have enough practice in that we know what it takes to make a feature before we even ask for a penny.
Right.
We want to make sure that we'll be able to complete something
Mhm.
before we even think about pitching stuff to the public.
Right.
So Streets of Vengeance was, I think at that time, going to be our 4th feature film.
Yep.
And we decided, like, okay, let's try. And we didn't expect anyone to even contribute. We were just like, we're nobody in a sea of tons of people. I don't know if we're going to be seen at all, if it makes anything good for us. And when it made 1,500 or something, we were like, oh my God, we're rich. Whoa.
Now, had you guys already made the movie before putting it up there to do
We
that?
had started filming a little, like, promotional stuff and a couple of, like, starting some scenes. And we had full intentions of making the film regardless of what we
I was
raised.
gonna say, yeah. Were you gonna
We
make the movie even if you didn't make
Of course.
anything?
exactly,
With
Yeah.
exactly.
every movie we've done, including OnlyFangs, we've always put in our own money, no matter
Yeah,
how
Right.
much we've raised. Obviously, of course, with Streets of Vengeance, because Streets of Vengeance, when we raised that money, it wasn't we didn't have like the guest stars already
Right.
involved. That came later, so that was just money out of our own pocket. And same with Slashlorette Party, Murdercise, and OnlyFangs. I mean, I ended up putting 10,000 of my own dollars into
Wow.
OnlyFangs just to make it, well, one, to complete it, but also to take that extra step and complete it so that it's consistent and that it did not
Right.
drop in production value or drop in, anything like that. That still looked the same.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because there were certain scenes where we just, due to locations falling out last minute or changing,
Yeah.
was not working out, we had to fly people back into California, and so that was unexpected things just outside of the budget that came up, and it was like, okay, well, I mean, we're not gonna not do it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we were already prepared going into this, knowing that no matter what we raised, we always end up putting more of our own money on top of it
Right.
anyway. So it's
Yeah,
like,
you gotta invest in yourself too. It's great to have fans and people who contribute and pre-order the movie. Obviously, that's amazing. That's humbling, surreal. But yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to complete
Right.
it. And that's what we learned. I think that's the most important lesson is how to complete stuff.
well, at least
Right.
we do. Nothing, not Gary
Well,
kind of approach.
Yeah.
yeah, no. So and does speaking of this, when you go to make these movies, the intention is to make the movies no matter what, even
Mhm.
if you don't get anything through crowdfunding. Crowdfunding just makes the movie more. Like it
Yes.
Yes.
helps get the extra guest people, helps you film in locations
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Whereas you would still have made OnlyFangs, it would have just been a smaller, maybe less
absolutely.
expansive movie.
Yes,
Definitely
for sure.
smaller, maybe taking longer, whatever it is,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever it is you got to do to finish it. That's what we learned, and we try to, you know, focus on and even like pass that down to other people who want to be filmmakers. Like they've asked us advice and stuff. Like you just got to finish it, no matter
right.
what.
Right. So
It's like
we,
making the movie is the main thing, regardless of how much money you get from it, and that
yes,
the extra money is beneficial to making that movie better,
Yeah.
as
exactly.
best as you can,
Yeah,
but if you don't get that money, you will still make the movie regardless for not only yourself, but for those fans who do, want to see that kind of material. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that as a movie lover myself. It's nice to know, hey,
Yeah.
I'll still get more movies out of you guys because that's you guys are passionate about filmmaking
exactly.
on top of everything else. Sure, the crowdfunding money's nice, but
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, no, we love it. We definitely
Exactly.
appreciate everyone's contributed, and it just shows us how excited people are for it. And it gives us that boost, not just financially, but also energy wise. Like, oh
yeah,
yeah, people are excited for
Like
this thing.
people
They want
care.
this thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, knowing that people care is a big thing. Because I was talking to, I think it was Dan a while ago about when we were in film school, and you make movies, but like you're doing it without any kind of audience, like this is
yeah,
pre-internet days. So it's like no
yeah,
one knows who you are, no one knows what you're doing. You can't share about it or talk about it or do any of that kind of stuff. So you were just doing it alone and not sure if anyone was ever going to see it. So like thinking of how it used to be and I'm thinking about now, it's like, man, this is great. It's a godsend, like what we have
yeah,
now, the internet, connecting with people. I mean, talking to people like you and all
Yeah.
these other people,
yeah.
podcasters and stuff. It's like without the internet, yeah, it would not be the same at all. It was kind of dismal and depressing back then, if you think about it in the mid
Right.
It's like a
2000s.
miracle for you to get noticed somehow.
Yeah,
I mean, we know people even now, even with the internet, that are struggling to get
for sure.
anyone's attention
For sure.
with for their
Right.
projects. That we have friends that also try to do projects, and they're like, I all the people that see it is my friends. I don't
Right.
have anyone to show to. I don't have an
Right.
audience. It's hard for me to get views or follows or whatever. And people are always asking us advice on that, which is weird
Right.
because we started out as nobodies who assumed no one would ever see
Mhm.
Right.
anything that we
Right.
did.
Yeah.
So when they ask, how did you do it? It's like, well, I mean, it's this formula of a lot of things, but the most important thing is just consistency. Like we've just been doing it
Yeah.
for so
Putting in the
long.
work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've just been doing it for so
Uh,
many years. We've been slowly
yeah.
building up.
Yeah. I was talking to Paul a little bit about that, like with my podcast. I'm 4 years in. This is my 200th episode. And,
Wow.
yeah, it's great. I have a very tiny audience, like very small. And so,
They're
but I
there.
appreciate that, but I'm going to continue doing it because for me, it's the passion of doing
Yeah.
this over, and I do this for free. I don't have ads on my stuff, nothing like, I do it all just for the love of doing it and hoping that people will enjoy it. If they don't, I get it. There's plenty of podcasts out there. I'm just another podcast. But it's just, but I still do it because it's what I love to do.
Yeah.
At the end of my day, it's something I'm passionate about.
Exactly.
And and that's why I love people like you guys who are passionate about the making of the film and stuff like that, because you can tell. And that's the thing, like even with your early movies and stuff like that, they're rough. They're very rough, but they are obviously things you were passionate about. Going back to like your early work with Cinco de Mayo and La Soldadera, you guys have a lot of cultural themes, Mexican American themes in your stuff, which I appreciated as well because you like that is something that I think is great about the early work as well. Even if it's rough, you guys were bringing yourselves into this,
Hmm.
and I think that's again, I don't think that you're not bringing it into the later movies and stuff like that because you guys are bringing different versions, like not different versions, different parts of yourself into
Yeah.
these later movies and stuff. But I think that's what makes a great body of work is you have those influences, you put those movies out there, and I think
Hmm.
that's what's really cool about it too is I own them, and you put them out there, warts and all, for people to see. And I
Yeah.
love that you're like, you're not just going, oh no, don't look at these things, because there are a lot of filmmakers, especially who get a certain amount of fame, and they're like, oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna not pay attention to this stuff. We're gonna let
Oh.
that stuff slowly go away.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Fade
but
into
I
the
think
back.
that's what's great about it is that you guys get to show that part of your filmmaking and the things that influence those parts. And like I was saying, you mentioned with Cinco de Mayo, that was, your love of horror, and Rough Cut is more of your, your kind of, French New Wave
Hmm.
Italian movie
Yep.
influences. And La Soldadera really reminded me, and I mentioned this to you, Paul, online. After I saw it the first time, I really got a huge like true romance Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino
Yeah,
vibe from that movie.
that's
So
exactly
I
what
loved the relationship between the main characters. It was great. You
Oh.
guys did
oh
a great job, like building that, like you just through those montages with them and everything like that.
Oh.
And I
oh
really felt his pain at the end, like
Yeah.
rewatching it again last night. It was just like, man, you just feel that sadness at the end, and it's just, yeah, for anybody who hasn't seen La Soldadera, just, you definitely should watch it. So
oh
it's
my
it's
God.
Oh,
really
thank
good.
you so
Thank you
much.
so
So,
much.
I saw have people saying that that's their favorite movie of
Right.
theirs, and
oh,
I love it. I has a special place in our
It
hearts
does.
too,
It has a
yeah.
very
and
special
I
place.
do want to do a remake of it. So we'll see if
Okay.
that happens.
Talking
That'd be
about that.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that story of like their romance, I mean, it's very exaggerated, but it's very loosely based on kind of our relationship and how we got together. Loosely,
Yeah.
very
Just
loosely.
add
Yeah.
narcos and
Yeah.
gangsters and stuff into there. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Death and murder.
yeah. So we love True Romance. That was definitely an
Oh,
inspiration to
True
us.
Romance is one of my favorite movies. I
I love
love that movie. Yeah,
so do we. We love
absolutely.
it. The soundtrack is so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So definitely was a huge inspiration. Again, you picked up on that, and nobody has ever said that. See, again, you got such a good eye.
Yeah.
But definitely that was our inspiration behind that, and we put a lot of our personal heart and culture into that. So again, those were things we did with zero budget,
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
that nobody would ever see it. It was just something we made for our own challenge and because we just wanted to see if we could make it. Again, it is something that now that we've built kind of an audience and we have people who are like, oh, if you do something, I want to invest in it. Maybe that's
Yeah.
something that we could do with funding now to actually
Yeah.
hire special effects people and actually hire people who can help us with those action scenes and things like that. So
Mhm.
Right.
that kind of really rough early days of indie filmmaking was mostly for us to prove again to ourselves, like, we can do this.
Yeah.
Even
Right.
with zero budget, this is something important to us that we want to try and do.
Yeah,
So
and people around us thought we were crazy back then too.
yeah, they're like,
So
why are you doing this?
that's just happens. Like, yeah, why are you doing this? Like, because it's a movie. What do you mean? Because why? What do you
Yeah.
mean? There's no question why. I never even thought that question.
I think people still ask us that, like, why are
Yeah,
you doing this?
why? Why? I can't explain it to you.
Well, you know what it's like, because I'm sure you probably have a full-time job like we did while we were making the movie, and then you do your extra creative endeavors on the
Right.
side. So then people are
Yeah.
like, so you work full-time and then you go off and do this little podcast or this little movie. It's like, what are you guys
Right.
doing? And it's like, why are you doing this? And it's like, because
Fun.
it's fun, you're a creative person, you have something you want to share with the
Right.
world, and there's someone out there for everyone. So if you keep going at your podcast and you're just consistent with it, someday you never know what will be your Murdercise, that all of a sudden there's an episode that everyone
Yeah.
starts talking about.
Mm.
Because that happened for us with Murdercise, where we're like, why, how did everyone find out about
Right.
this? Like, all of a sudden everybody's talking about this, and people were telling us it's going viral, and we're like, what are you talking, like, what do you mean,
How did you
how did it spread? We don't even know how the word spread or why or what, but it did, and it helped us like really
Yeah.
expand with Onlyfangs.
Yeah.
So again, we're just some little country bumpkins in the middle of California that were like, whatever, we're just gonna do this, and somehow we've like slowly built up this audience, and now in the last two projects, it's just like boomed into this bigger thing that we were not expecting, but it's much appreciated, and we definitely want to deliver something
Yeah.
to the people who are looking to us now and saying like, oh, okay, you guys have the floor. What do you have to say?
Yeah.
Onlyfangs.
I think that's great. I think, and going back to like those pre-crowdfund movies, you can definitely tell there's a shift, not just in obviously in the budgets that you did, but also there feels like there's a shift in your storytelling as well. You definitely moved from maybe some more personal themes
Mhm.
into more of a we're going to tell some interesting story things. We're still going to have some personal stuff in there, but it definitely felt like you guys moved into a new era after that point
Yeah.
as well with Streets of Vengeance and
Yeah.
onward. Definitely with some very heavy feminist themes as well.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy a lot. That
Yeah.
you definitely have very women centric, women focused movies. The guys take this background role or the side roles where the women characters are much more prominent, and I really think that that's a key to your success as well.
Yeah.
And I think that it's an interesting thing, especially because these are very much in the exploitation kind of grindhouse
Mhm.
style of movies, but you have these themes in them while also still having the gratuitous violence and nudity, which I
Mhm.
think is this weird combination that works really well for you guys.
Yeah.
It has become somewhat of a signature for us. So
Right.
Yeah.
it is a thing. It's like we love action, we love heart, we love comedy, we love things that are sexy, we love things that are like strong women, we love things that have a strong voice behind them. They're willing to commit and double down on what they're saying and what they
Yeah.
mean. It's pretty our stuff that we write tends to be pretty strongly rooted. There's no really second guessing on like what are they about? It's like, no, they're telling you right up front. Same thing with OnlyFans. So even though it is a much broader, more mainstream, I guess, more
Hmm.
digestible film, there's still a lot of things that are kind of personal to us. But I think it's more personal to everybody. It's more of like a
Yeah.
global theme. So, for example, Jessa's character, she plays Gwen, and she's kind of this girl who works at her her full-time job, and she's just like, I'm tired of going to work. I just work to live. I'm just barely getting by. I'm tired of this. Like, I want my own thing, but I don't even know what my thing is because I'm too tired from working all the time.
Right.
Um, Definitely, I've said those words before. So there's definitely
Well, I
like
heard it.
it's definitely like her journey is kind of loosely based on some of the themes I've experienced in my life of being surrounded by like really beautiful women who are hustling, and it's like, what am I doing? Why am I working like a sucker
Right.
at a full-time job that's breaking my brain every day, and maybe I should be exploring more creative uh,
Right.
paths. You never know. So I think that actually speaks to a lot of people in the age of
Yeah.
the internet, where you can have a side hustle online, but you kind of are trying to hold it down while doing a full-time job and exploring other options on the side. So I think that's just become more of a global ideal or theme, but it's definitely
Right.
something that's personal and for me and for Paul. So that's something we're pulling from in our real lives.
Yeah, and also with the like we said from Streets of Vengeance on, like I wanted to embrace subgenres, and it
Yeah.
just kind of happens like with the kind of movies I'm ingesting at that time that a story will arise or a certain kind of mood or a vibe will arise. So I was for Streets of Vengeance, I was watching a lot of yeah, exploitation movies, Angel, Avenging Angel,
Right.
Giallo movies, Tenebrae, stuff like that, Savage Streets, and so all these things just kind of pull together, and eventually you'll hit something like some sort of a light bulb moment, and it's like, oh, I know how I can tie them all in together. And so, like, exploring that kind of women in peril, stripper in peril subgenre, that was
Right.
the for Streets of Vengeance, and then the cabin in the woods slasher, which is
Right.
definitely a subgenre, but a huge one. And then a smaller one, but still just as aesthetically pleasing to us, the aerobics slasher movie.
Right.
And even though
Yeah.
there's only a few of them, I was like, well, I want to make something that will sit alongside Killer Workout and Death Spa and
Right.
Quigley's Horror Workout. And so I try to use very specific touchstones or inspirations for whatever we do, so it has that personal touch for us,
Right.
not just as a human being, but as a movie lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I love that you picked up on how we've kind of transitioned into um, putting ourselves out there really in our early films and saying like, oh, you could really see our heart and our
Mm.
inspirations, just like that's us just really out there. And we've kind of turned it around and made it a little more
It's more
mainstream
underneath.
and
Yeah.
digestible for a mainstream audience, but definitely people wouldn't know. But there's personal things in there, like on Murdercise, Kansas's character. She's like this goody two shoes who's obsessed with the president and being
Right.
good and trying hard. And that's very much based on how I am in real life. It's like,
Mhm.
no, guys, we have to do it right. Like, I care about this. It's not silly and goofy to me.
Well, and I like that you can poke fun at yourself about that because
Yeah,
knowing that's about you and you're just like, okay, well, I'm going to poke fun of myself. I know I'm that way. So,
absolutely, absolutely. And Paul joked about being the Gino character in Murdercise, where he's like, "Ooh, how can I like make something out of this? Like,
Mhm.
let me take this and make a movie out of it." So he's always
I
like
mean,
plotting and scheming behind the scenes,
pretty
which
much every character I can identify with. The
yeah,
mafia
yeah.
girl, the killers. Drew's character. Everybody.
yeah, we write a bit of ourselves into like all the
Yeah.
You have
characters.
to.
We sprinkle a little bit of ourselves. I think that's why they feel like real people, because we base them off people we know or a
Yeah, I
little
was
bit
going
off
to
of
say,
ourselves.
do the actors themselves help kind of inform the characters as well? Like, especially when you've worked with people more than once, like somebody
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like Nina,
I we
and yeah, and Jessa, and I'm sure some of these people you've worked with help kind of influence, or at least help inspire the
Yeah.
characters.
absolutely.
Definitely in the writing stage
Definitely.
because we are writing for certain people. We are definitely written the role for Drew and Murdercise and Onlyfangs. Clearly, that was written for
Yeah,
him, and Nina
Nina, we've always
is
written for her.
yeah
So
yeah,
tailored it to her strengths.
she's a very good friend of ours, and we know her voice and her personality so well that we factor it into what her character will be in all of our films. So she's always playing someone that's the tough girl, the
yeah,
strong, the badass,
Mm.
the bad girl, a little bit of a rebel. That's very much close to who she is, even though in real life she's so sweet with a heart of
Yeah,
gold. But she definitely is a tough woman and super ambitious and hardworking. And we definitely write for her in her voice, something that would be very
right.
easy for her to play because it's based on her. So for certain people, we definitely, if we build a relationship with them, we can start writing in their voice for
yeah,
them.
and that helps a lot with
It
the writing.
does help. Sometimes we just write a character based off of we're trying to express our own opinion, and someone's playing me or someone's playing Paul or something, and then it's an actor maybe we haven't worked with before. They're stepping into a role,
Right.
and we start to shape it around them as we're working together. We let them add some of their own
Good.
characteristics to help it feel more natural
Yeah.
on screen. But yeah,
Are you
definitely.
guys very collaborative with the actors as well, letting them
Oh yeah,
like insert lines and stuff like that if they come up with something interesting that works for you?
Definitely. I mean,
definitely.
that comes from my love of Scorsese, because me and my
Yeah.
brother and my cousin, we were definitely into Scorsese movies and Mean Streets and Taxi Driver. So we all grew up loving that improv, that
Yeah.
structured improv that he does. And so, like for instance, the Drew and Jessica scene in Murdercise, where they're talking about, look at my tits. We had worked that out in the hotel room like the night before. So there's like
Like there's a script for
BTS.
that scene.
Yeah, they're reading the script, but they're going off and they're riffing, and we say, yeah,
Right.
yeah, that sounds good. Like do that or do this, and then when the
Right.
day comes, it's like, okay, now here's that was the rehearsal. Now here's the full show. They just started going back and forth, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's great. Let's cut. Let's do that. Make sure you call him dummy. Make sure you do this. And so it's
Yeah.
just like, it's easy when you have like great actors like that. Because all you have to do is just kind of adjust and tweak. Just let them do their thing. If it's good, if it's amazing, because you don't know, it'll turn into a crazy scene like it did eventually. And then you can
Right.
just shape it. You can just shape it in editing, or you can just shape it on the set, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
if
Right.
you let great actors do their thing, you'll get some magic out of it.
for sure. There's 100% always a script. That's a solid script. So
Yeah.
the base minimum, bare minimum, the bare minimum for us is always like at least come prepared to know the script so that we can
Yeah.
start there. And some people think that they can improv and they can't.
Right? Yeah.
So we have to tell them like, all right, let's just pull it back and like
Yeah.
stick to the script because you're going off and making a whole new scene now.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there's other people who they just have a little bit better of a knack for it. They're a little bit more experienced maybe, or maybe they just have really good chemistry with their co-star, whoever they're sharing that
Right.
scene with. So we are just there to guide them, and the script is just like the map, and they can either explore and show us something great, and we'll definitely keep it. We'll be like, oh, that's better than what we wrote. So we'll take it. But if
Yeah.
they're trying to make something up and it's gonna get kind of confusing or it's going off derailing, then we're like, okay, let's pull it back. Let's
Yeah.
let's go back to the
Right.
script.
And that's our job.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
going back.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll try. We'll let anybody experiment and explore if especially if we have a little bit of time. Definitely.
Right. Well, and I'm sure it helps, definitely with having the same people over and over again, which I've noticed, even in your earlier movies, you would have certain people come back um and and have been there, throughout. Some people obviously not there anymore, at least the last couple of movies, and and so I think that's, you obviously attract people who like working with you, which is nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they want to keep coming back for more, which is always fun. So, and I always appreciate that, people, of course, people, I'm influenced by Tarantino, Scorsese, always using a lot of the same people over and over again
Yeah.
because that's who they like to work with.
Yeah.
They know that they're
Exactly.
good, they know that they're going to be good on set and not going to be a problem. So,
Exactly, exactly. We tend to want to bring people back that have a good attitude. So
right.
the film family we've built is people who we know we can trust. It's
Yeah.
people that trust us,
Mhm.
and it's people that they understand our language at this point. So they know what we're going for and they can deliver without feeling silly. So if we give them a ridiculous scene that they're like, I'm gonna, what? What do you want me to do? They don't have to question it because they're like, oh, I trust that they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Right.
We pitch this crazy roller skating scene. Nobody's questioning it anymore at this point. They're like, oh, I don't need to see it. I'm sure you guys are gonna do something with it. So it's nice when you bring back familiars that are familiar with our style of working, they're familiar with our final product in the
Right.
film, and there's a lot of trust there. But really importantly for us is people who are reliable, positive and fun, and they're just going to be trusting with positive attitude, because
Right.
we're working at a very fast pace, so we need the process to be as smooth as possible. So we try to bring back people who are really pleasant and lovely to work with, for
Right.
sure.
Well, speaking of that, one of your recurring people who's been there since Streets of Vengeance is Ginger Lynn,
Yep.
Yeah.
which I know you guys are big fans of. Obviously, she's been in your movies, but I know you were a big fan of hers before. How did you get her originally, and how do you get her to stay?
Yeah. I mean, that is something I think about, like, how the hell? Like when she calls me in the morning just to
Yeah.
check in
She just called a
and
couple days ago. We're
right.
talking.
I mean, yeah, that is the question I also ask myself because it is an honor that we are her friend, that we're friends. And when last time we talked to her, she was like, "Oh, I consider you like my son," even though the
Aw,
age thing is not, it's
yeah,
like off a little bit
yeah,
because she's not
She's
old enough to
like,
be
I'm
my
not old
son.
enough to be your mom, but I can still consider you like a son.
Yeah, and that's like so touching and so, wonderful and very honored, like I said, because of who she is, it's like she is so famous and she is so legendary. She is such an icon. So the first time talking to her, was really crazy. And I only got that idea because a friend of mine had posted a picture of New Wave Hookers, the VHS tape, on
right,
his timeline on his Instagram. And I had heard the name Ginger Link. I remember from like Vice Academy and stuff like that. And it said, oh, she was like, I'm sorry, a porn icon and stuff. Like, oh, okay, yeah. She's been in Rob Zombie movies and stuff.
yeah,
And so,
The Metallica
Metallica video.
music video.
Well, I knew she was in Rob Zombie movies, and I was like, well, I wonder if she's up for doing something on our level. And I found an interview of hers, and she had said that, yeah, just like email me, and I'll take a look at your script. Basically, is what
yeah,
she said. I was like, well, shit. She's already opened that door, just in general. She put it out there. I asked Angie, well, what do you think if we actually tried to get her? Because that cover of New Wave Hookers is like the aesthetic summation of Trees of Vengeance. I was like, well, what if this
right,
wasn't a porn movie, but if it was an erotic thriller directed by Brian De Palma? Like, what if
right,
that's Streets of Vengeance? At least that's how the seed started. And that would be crazy if we actually got the person who inspired the movie, basically the aesthetics of the movie, to actually be in it. So we wrote this role for Ginger, hoping that she would be up for it. Emailed her the script, emailed her the trailer, and she was a little concerned. She just wanted to make sure we weren't portraying the adult film world in a negative light, which I told her, nope,
yeah,
not at all. It's not the adult film world that screws her over. It's the bad guy, her boss, that does it.
right,
It's not a commentary on adult film. And she's like, okay,
right,
yeah, I totally get it. We had a phone call, and that was surreal, just talking to her, and she was so nice, so sweet. She just laid out, what she needs for this to happen, accommodations and things. I was like, okay, I can make that happen. I think I can make that. And that up till that, well, for now, and then she has been the biggest star in our films, and that was our first time working with such a star like that. And so we
right,
were just so, like I said, blessed to be working with her. And we had told, conveyed that to our actors, the importance of this, working with her, to Delana and to Dan, who was shooting it, and to
Brian.
Brian and Josh, who was there to help out. And she loved everybody. She loved working with everybody. We got to talk to her about her book. She's right. I mean, like, full circle moment. She sent me her book to read, and me and Angie are going to give her feedback on it. So, oh my
that's
God, that's
awesome.
pretty crazy. But she was talking to us about that back then in 2016.
That she was going to write a book, and she started to pitch like the early little seeds
Yeah,
of what she wanted her
Wow,
book to be. Now she's written it, and she just sent us a
like a
rough
manuscript.
draft to read
yeah,
over opinion, which is crazy. But she flew in, she agreed. I mean, again, going back to the fundraising thing, Streets of Vengeance was our first thing that we tried crowdfunding, only raised like $1,500, I want to say, which definitely would not even cover the expenses of what it would pay
Right.
to hire Ginger and to fly her
yeah,
here, to get her hotel and do all that. So that's an example of something that we did out of our pocket, because we're like, oh, she said yes,
yeah,
we're making it happen.
We're
Like,
make it
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
we want her in this movie. We'll cover the cost
We're
of
going
whatever.
forward one day. Well, then
We'll
that's what
do
it's
it.
going to take. It's going to take one day shooting all day and night.
Literally, she
Yeah.
flew in to San Francisco. We picked her up, went straight to the hotel, started filming there and around there. We
Hmm.
shot pretty much all day, and then stayed the night, and she went back home the next day. So we just
Wow.
made it work for whatever we could afford at the time. Thankfully, she said yes
Yeah.
to us and said, like, I'm really interested in the story, and this is why I'm willing to, you know, take a chance and like lower what I think my rate should be and what it could be
Right.
to take a chance on independent artists like you guys. And since then, we've become really good friends with her. I think just the experience, she really enjoyed how much heart we had and how much we put in, and honestly, how much we love her. I think she feels the love
Right.
because the cast, anytime they're around her, they just are obsessed with her and love her. And at this point, she's really close to someone like Nina, who's worked with her multiple times now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what a joy that's been to have her as a friend. And actually, she's let us stay at her house
Yep.
to film out there. We shot out at her house for OnlyFangs a little bit, and
Mm.
she's just grown in popularity since then. So the
Yeah.
fact that we were able to get her in our projects, and the fact that she keeps saying yes to us, even though she's
Yeah.
really big figure
Yeah.
out in the indie film scene and just in films in general. The fact that she keeps saying yes to us is like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, because after Streets
Yeah.
of Vengeance and Slashlorette Party, she just blew up. She started being in so many more movies,
Yeah.
so many more independent movies. Like other friends of mine are like, "Oh yeah, Ginger's in my movies." Like, oh wow, that's so awesome.
Well, I mean, hey, maybe you guys getting her for Streets of Vengeance was something that she was like, you know what, I'm going to give a chance to more independent filmmakers, and
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
kind
it
of
is.
opened
Yeah.
her up to that. So,
Yeah, it is.
you
She
know,
definitely said that though. Yeah, after that, I started taking more offers and getting on more sets. And now
that's
that's her thing.
awesome.
Now she goes to conventions for her horror work, not just her adult film work. So
Right.
That's
pretty
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, she's amazing. And she's so nice. Like, I don't think people know, maybe they do, but if for anyone who doesn't know, she's like the nicest person. I don't understand like how she is so patient and she's so soft spoken. And I mean, she's definitely a firecracker for sure, but she's just so generous and patient and loving.
And
It's crazy.
she's such a serious actress.
Right.
She comes prepared. She takes a script, she rewrites it in her own little notebook, and she studies her lines, and she's always prepared. And it's like
Yeah.
that's a serious actress. Like that's something that I think other people probably wouldn't think of. You know, they think she should be a diva or something, but no, she's
Right.
Yeah.
serious actress.
She's always asking us like, "What do you need from me? Can I offer anything? Can I bring anything?" Like she's always trying to bring her own ideas for even though I provide wardrobe for her for our movies, she still tries to bring her own stuff. She's like, "Just I just thought that maybe you might want options," and she's just very
Yeah.
thoughtful in that way. And she's always giving us gifts and things, which is like, "What? This is I don't know. It's just she's so nice. It's crazy.
Amazing.
We love her.
I think
She's
that's great. I mean, you guys helped give her a new, not lease on life, but more of like a focus, in a secondary area that she just maybe hadn't thought of before. So
Right.
I think that's
yeah.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really
that's
cool to see
awesome.
how much work she's doing.
And I'm glad that she continues to come back and work with you guys, as well, comes back and, appreciates where, she got that, not the start, but, she got
Yeah.
this, at least the second part of this
Like
in
the
there.
indie
So,
horror.
yeah,
Yeah,
the indie horror side of it,
yeah,
everything. So
Mhm.
definitely.
that's
It's
cool.
amazing.
Well, talking about her, that's something else that you guys do have. A lot of the actresses and people you do have in there are people who are, um, you know, independent adult, I guess, sex workers of sorts and
Mhm.
stuff like that. People who are models and OnlyFans actresses and
Mhm.
Hmm.
and people like that. I think that's really good that you guys continue to, show that these actresses are actresses, that
Yeah.
they are
Yeah,
just like regular people. And I think that's something that, that gets lost in a lot of, the whole problem that people have with sex workers and stuff like that. It's like
Right.
yeah,
they're just real people too who are just trying to
right,
make a living and stuff like
right.
that. But two, that they
Well,
also have a
creative.
lot of talent and drive as well to do what they want to do,
Yeah, and they're creative too. They have a lot of
Yeah.
creativity.
I think there's this misconception that a lot of the women that do sex work, there's this misconception that they make a lot of money just because they're hot, just because they're sexy and
Right.
they're
Yeah.
selling
That
their
they don't have to
body.
do any work. They just have to be on screen and not do
Ex-
anything. And
Exactly. It's like,
yeah.
oh, you just turn your camera on and show your body and then you just make money. It's like that's not actually true. There's tons of people who have OnlyFans accounts that are not making anything,
No,
and it's just like social media. It's the same exact thing. It's like there's millions of social media accounts. Who are you going to choose to watch and follow?
exactly.
It's the people who are working hard to try and build a community, to build an audience. They're out there trying to promote themselves. They're constantly trying to, like, maybe if I try this, maybe if I try that.
Right.
And they have ambition,
They
they
have
use creativity,
a
they're
lot of ambition
It's
to get
very
their.
similar to the work you guys do, in
Yeah,
a lot of ways,
exactly.
so
Exactly. So
yeah.
some of the people we know that are in that world, they're the hardest working people we know. They're
Yeah.
constantly working on their content and their ideas and the people they want to collaborate with. So I think that's just kind of an interesting misconception because it's more than just getting in front of a camera and showing your body. Like any actor, it's the same thing. An actor can just get in front of a camera and act, but there's
Yeah.
bad actors and there's really good
Oh yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
So how good is your career going to be? It's really going to be based off of how hard you're willing to work. How, yes, talent is definitely in there, but how much you're willing to put into it, how consistent you're going to be, and how engaged you are in what you're doing. So
Right.
definitely, we have a lot of love for the adult film world or anybody who does sex work. It's just something we've kind of stumbled into. It
Right.
wasn't really something necessarily that we like set out to get involved with, but it's
Right.
kind of fallen into our lap, and at this point, it's just kind of built into our world. So
Yeah, and I think by you featuring them and stuff like that, it also helps maybe some of the other ones who might want to dip into acting and stuff like that
yeah,
do that. Maybe not just for you guys, but for other people, they'll take bigger chances than they thought they might otherwise. They see people like Jessa and Nina and stuff like that doing this and being, successful-ish in the, at least getting the attention for this and
yes,
getting work over and over and over again, that they'll have that opportunity as well. And I think
yeah.
that
right,
that's
exactly.
great. It breaks them out of just that, and especially in the indie horror world, that kind of stuff where you don't have the money to pay for bigger name actors and stuff like that, you're going to want more independent people in your movies, people that you can afford that also have the talent and everything. So that kind of lends itself toward, it's kind of like both kind of self feed each other in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
So
Exactly. At this point, they've become a really great collaboration
yeah,
partner for us because of that mindset, because they understand what it's like to try and build a fan base and deliver something that people are going to enjoy. They understand like the hustle that's needed
yeah,
to
yeah,
complete something and put effort into something to get your face out there, to get your name out there. So there's definitely a shorthand of understanding there of just being a
yeah,
self-made kind of entrepreneur. But I think more and more as sex work is just becoming more and more mainstream, I think it's great because now people, I think anyone who goes to Little Puck and sees her
right,
work
Hmm.
will see that it's like, yes, there's adult content there, but there's a lot of like goofy
yeah,
characters. There's a lot of goofy stories. There's crazy
Cosplay.
makeup. There's crazy makeup and
Mhm.
cosplay, and
right,
there's a lot of funny creativity there. Maybe it's not everyone's thing, but
right,
I think sex work gets this label of like all they do is get naked and make money, and it's like, well, a lot of them
yeah,
are trying to do something different with cosplaying or making stories or making characters, and I think
yeah,
that's maybe a little bit underrated. That a lot of people might not realize that the girls that we work with, they're super funny.
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
like
yeah,
very funny and
Funny and talented. And I think
naturally charismatic.
when people see Little Puck and Nightmare Christie or Christy Adams in this movie, I
yeah,
think people are going to be wanting them in their movie too
yeah.
after seeing
And
this.
Christy's been on my show a couple of times as well, so
Oh,
talking
sweet.
about horror movies, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. She did a review for Murdercise, and I was like, wow, it was a really
yeah,
great review. And that's how I said, hey, would you want to be involved in one of our films? And she's like, yeah, I would love to. And then the fact that she's friends with Ginger as well, and they've
yeah,
done content. So it's like, oh,
yeah.
perfect. You guys live the
It was
same place, do
perfect. Yeah.
content, chemistry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just wrote itself basically.
Well, and I
So
think that it also, yeah, and I think it also helps that when you have these women in your stuff, they're going to help promote your stuff, and then
Yeah.
you're also helping promote them as well by
Yep.
them being in your movie. So it's this kind of self-perpetuating like uh system of promoting each other, which is really
Yeah,
nice.
exactly.
Yes.
So,
Exactly. Like
you
they
know,
understand that hustle mentality, the
yeah.
collaboration, the perks of being collaborators
And it brings
with other
their audience
people.
to you and your audience to them, and
Yeah.
Exactly.
definitely
So
helps a lot sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
one that's been a big contributor to that is Jessa. Like anytime we do a post, like a collaboration post, she always, yes, let's do it because we, like you said, feed off each other. We help each other. We bring in people and she brings in people to watch our stuff because she's in it, and people watch her and they discover her and like, wow, who's that? So
Right.
yeah, we've always had a great respect for people like that, and like especially Jessa because she understands it, probably better than most.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's very cool. Um, and let's go ahead and talk about, I mean, we've talked about OnlyFans a lot, but let's go ahead and talk about it more, like in terms of what you know, like we said earlier, it seems like a culmination of a lot of things, a lot of your influences and stuff like that. What like brought you to this? It seems like it's been a story that was percolating in the back of your mind for a while. It's been
Yeah.
in the script stage for a while before you brought it to it. What made it the project that you had to do now?
Well, when I had posted a little post online, it was like a note I wrote to myself in 2021 around this
Hmm.
time. It was like write it fast, get it out on paper, and I had wrote a brief, crude description of Murdercise and one of Onlyfangs. And at that time, I really wanted to finish Onlyfangs because I had started it in 2020, and
Mm.
then it just kind of lingered, and I just like I'm coming back to it, this and that. And then another script, Wrestle Babes and the Heavy Metal Demon Massacre, was another one I started at the same time. So I wrote both of them and I started it, and then, just getting kind of fed up with not finishing it. So I made like a deal with myself that I'm going to finish both of these scripts this year, 2021. And then for some reason I threw in Murdercise. So I don't know why. I think Murdercise, I was like, you know what? I want to write that one in a month. Like these two are taking like, a year and a half, almost 2 years. Let me write this one in a month and let me finish the other two. First draft, at least. And so
Yeah.
after doing that, I thought maybe OnlyFans would be next after Slashlorette Party. I didn't know. I thought we could handle it. It was, a bigger film than Slashlorette Party and, kind of along the same lines as Streets of Vengeance. But we didn't. We didn't do OnlyFans. We didn't do OnlyFans. When I finished the Murder Size, I was like, actually, I like this one better. It's smaller, more contained, and I think we can do it quicker than
Yeah.
taking on such a huge project. So OnlyFans was intended to be first, but sorry, Murder Size was intended to come after OnlyFans. So we did Murder Size first, and then after I was done, great success, everything, and we thought, well, okay, which one is it? OnlyFangs or the wrestling movie? And of the two, we were like, well, the wrestling movie seems even bigger than OnlyFangs,
Oh
so
wow.
let's go with OnlyFangs, even though that's gonna be a huge fucking movie.
You're right.
Let's go with it. So that one I started to send to other people to read and to give feedback on, and I was like, okay, well, finally gonna make this vampire movie. And something I've always wanted to do. I love The Lost Boys. I love Fright Night,
Yeah.
and they were the two main inspirations, as evidenced by that little note that I wrote to myself. It was
Right.
like, Lost Boys and Fright Night. A dude discovers a girl is a vampire. She's like a webcam girl, and she lives next door. That was just very, very crude. And from then, he just expanded it into the story it is now. But that's where it started. And so, all right, well, this is it. This feels like a good time to finally take on the vampire movie after Murdercise getting a lot of good press and a lot of
Yeah.
fans and stuff. I felt like this is the one people wanted to see because I had put it out there that I want to do this, and people are like, "When's OnlyFans coming? When's OnlyFans coming?" So,
Mm.
all right,
Gotcha.
people have spoken, kind of a thing. Let's go with OnlyFans.
yeah, I remember
Right.
us talking about the seeds of it back when we were wrapping up Slashlorette Party.
Hmm.
So we were already kind of talking about the little sprouts of the
Right.
idea of it back when we were finishing Slashlorette Party. But again, things kind of took a turn with COVID. So
Yeah.
COVID popping up delayed the completion of Slashlorette Party, and then it definitely kind of dictated where we went next with filmmaking, because it's like, well, how soon can we come back? And
Hmm.
can people travel for this? Is there a fear of people gathering to do something big?
Right.
So we
Yeah,
really
definitely.
were kind of taking our time with coming back into something a little bit smaller, not too epic, because things were still a little iffy, even though we were on the tail end coming out of it.
I mean, people were saying, "Oh, do you think you're gonna have like COVID compliance officers on set?" I was like, "No,
No,
what are you talking about? I'm not doing that." But
yeah,
we did have like, I think like COVID like release forms,
we
because that was
did.
a big thing.
Yeah.
You get COVID on our set, you're not gonna sue us or something. When we did Murdercise,
Yeah,
so it was
Right.
still lingering there, you know.
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so we decided to do something smaller
Yeah.
and more contained to come back into normalcy from COVID before we took on OnlyFans. So
Which
that
is good because a lot of the people that were in Murdercise came back for OnlyFans. I mean,
Right.
we
Yeah.
had talked about it on set a little bit, and Kansas was after like I think her last day before she was about to leave. She was like, "Oh, what's this OnlyFans thing? I want to read for it." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I didn't think she'd want to do a vampire movie, but I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, cool." But that was not something that I anticipated, and we liked working with her. But I just assumed she wouldn't be up for a movie called OnlyFans. But she did a movie called Murdercise, so why not? I think she was thinking. But then that's how we knew of Jessa and had to bring her to OnlyFans. She was
Yeah.
perfect, and then Adriana too, and Drew, of course, we wanted him to be in it, and then BB, she played a little background character, and then of
Right.
course Nina. So yeah, it was just
Yeah.
like almost like so many people from that movie be carried into OnlyFans, and so
Yeah.
it was right to do it that way.
yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. No, that's really good. I'd like to single out, and I mentioned this to Adriana online too, is like she was before I even saw the movie, she was the one that I thought was going to be like the big breakout for this one, just because she's doing a lot more in the trailer type stuff that I was seeing.
Hmm.
Was she was looking to be the really funny kind of breakout role in that, where a lot of her stuff was like like I said, really funny.
Yeah.
And taking it into like that really aggressive weird way. And
Oh
I
yeah.
thought that was cute. But it's so funny too, because I hear more people talking about Meredith's
Right.
Yeah.
her role in that, which I think is fantastic too. But again, I think Adriana kind of like is the breakout for me in terms of that one.
That's
But
cool. No, I love hearing that. I love hearing
yeah.
people's opinions like that. Who's breaking out, or some other podcast is like, "Oh, I think the next Jessa Flux is in this movie." And I was like, "Wow,
Oh, okay.
that's pretty
That's
cool."
pretty
You even
crazy.
have the phrase it that way, like
Yeah.
that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, we loved working with Adriana. We gave her like really cool lines. I thought she had the best lines of the movie,
Yeah.
and she delivered them so well that yeah, that had to be in the trailer. It's like
Yeah.
that's it. That's what people remember.
Yeah.
Stop killing. That's the best part. And like
Exactly.
all that stuff about men bleeding once a month. So many great lines. And yeah, she did such a good job. And Meredith, she was someone that was new for us. We had never worked with her
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
but we wanted to, and she just completely blew it out the water. I mean,
Ugh,
yeah, just
I
above
love
and
her.
beyond. Yeah, we
Yeah.
love her. She was just so great. Again, someone new that didn't know us, trusted us to come over to California and live in a house for like 6 days. We had an Airbnb for all the actors to live in,
Yeah.
like the real world or something. So like to come over here not knowing nobody and just like gelling with Nina and like Drew and everybody in the cast and stuff. So
That's
it
really
just turned
cool.
out so good.
I love
Yeah.
hearing like who people pick as their girl, that they're like, I like everybody, but that one's my favorite one.
Right.
Right.
I
We,
love Kansas. I love Nina, and that's my. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's like your favorite Ninja Turtle. That's what reminds me back in the days.
Well, that was like a Murdercise. Jessa was my favorite from that one.
Yeah.
I just love like
perfect.
just how much she committed and just
Yeah.
was having so much fun with that bit. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, this time it was Adriana for sure.
Yeah.
We've been building these like girl ensemble groups since Streets of Vengeance, and
Yeah.
we try to, I mean, here's a little bit of my like secret behind the scenes influence, is like I've always been huge fan of girl groups. So
Spice
Yeah.
Girls.
like the Spice Girls, or like In Vogue
Hmm.
or TLC or whoever. There's always or even girly movies like Clueless
Mhm.
and Mean Girls and
Yeah.
things like that. So it's always we're designing each character to be very specific to who they are. So if you like the rough one, the
Right.
rebel one, the one that's more metal, or if you like the one that's softer and more feminine, or if you like the one that's more artsy and kind of
Right.
quirky. So we definitely build in these character types and use them in a lot of our movies.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to me to see which one, when we talk to people, they're like, all of them are cool, but Nina's my favorite. Or all of them are
Right.
cool, but Jessa was my favorite. It's
Right.
interesting to me for whatever reasons, whether it be through their style or through their lines or through their
Right.
personality of what they portray in the film. I'm always curious to know like which one is which one is someone's favorite
Yeah.
and why. So
Right.
That's really
No,
cool.
that's
I love
great.
that. That's so cool.
Yeah, and speaking of bringing people back for this, you brought Delana back for
Yeah.
the first time since Streets of
Yep.
Vengeance. So that was
Yep.
great to see her return.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I mean, it's a
really
small role, but you got her for at least part of it. So
yeah.
Yes. Alana is someone we met years ago, so way back in our early filmmaking days, back when we were
yeah, because she's in Cinco de Mayo. Yeah.
Mhm.
exactly back when we were zero budget. I think we might not even have had social media at the.
No,
I
not
don't even think we
really.
had social media at the time when we met her. So she was a theater student here in our local hometown that we saw in a play, and we're like, oh wow, she's just got like pizzazz, like she's got a sparkle, and we just wanted to work with her on something, and we're like, hey, we're local filmmakers. Back then we didn't have anything to even reference to say you can watch this that we've
Right.
done. We didn't
Yeah.
have that. We were just some random people that were like, we're thinking of trying to make a movie, would you be interested?
We're trying to make this Italian new wave
Yeah.
movie. Would you want to play the Nuke Amy or Anna Karina role? Like who? Who are
Yeah,
those people?
what, like, what are you guys,
We showed her many a French New Wave film in our living rooms to say, okay, this is Anna Karina. This is how we want you to
Right.
kind of just your shit off. Oh, okay.
and thankfully she was like an artsy student that
Like,
was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm open to it, I just want to do acting roles, and sure, I'm down. So thankfully she took us on back when we didn't have a budget and all we were paying was paying people in pizza.
yeah.
Right.
So she's been in several of our early films, because she is someone from our hometown. So she was definitely in Cinco de Mayo as a tiny little role, and she has roles in Rough Cut. She's
Rough cut. Yeah.
the star of that, and
Mhm.
obviously the star of Streets of Vengeance.
Yep.
And we definitely would have wanted to keep working with her, but she took a position at a job and she moved away.
Oh,
So
okay.
left our hometown and moved not like super far away,
The
but
Bay Area.
she's in the Bay Area, which is like maybe an hour and a half ish,
Hmm.
but it's far enough away and the job was full time with
Yeah. Yeah.
a commute if she would want to work with us. So trying to juggle like the new job, the full-time job with the commute of having to come out to us, like it just didn't really work out scheduling wise. So
Right.
there it's not any reason other than that, which is why we weren't able to work with her again. But thankfully she's been really established with what she's doing now, and she's able to factor in even with the day, because we shot for one day for Onlyfangs. Even with that, she it was a little bit of a struggle because she had to come after work.
Yeah.
So
Right.
she's like, I'm gonna try and take like an hour off so I can come out to you guys.
Oh,
And
wow.
Yeah, the
so
traffic around here is pretty crazy.
it's
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
known for
It's
being terrible.
California. Yeah.
it is wild.
Yeah.
Even that was a little bit of a like stress because we're like, okay, she has to make it here, and we're shooting outside, and hopefully we have enough time because the sun's gonna set, and even that was a challenge.
Race against the sun.
Yeah.
God.
But still, we that's why we only wrote her like something smaller so that it wouldn't be
Right.
such a stressful thing on her to try to take time off and all this.
Yeah,
So
but it was a big deal to bring her back
yeah, it was a big
Yeah.
deal for us to bring her back.
for us.
It was a big deal for us
Yeah.
that she said yes, I'm taking roles again, and I'm opening myself up to start doing some of that on my free time again,
That's
or
good.
in
Yeah.
our case, make time for us. So it was really cool to reconnect with her and do something again.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I was glad you guys were able to bring her back. I saw her in the cast announcements. Like, oh, okay, good. You got her
Yeah.
back. So
I
that
love
was
that
it.
people actually like are like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Camila, Streets of
Yeah.
Vengeance. That's so
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Patreon. Because that's a place where people can continuously get not just on your social media, but they can get a lot of behind the scenes content that you don't post out on like Instagram.
Yeah.
Um, I've been there for quite a while now.
Yeah, from the
Thank
beginning.
you. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I was gonna say I think I've been there from the beginning, but
Yeah.
pretty close to it at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've enjoyed that, because sometimes you guys will post up like, the making of that are on the
Yeah.
discs. People should be definitely buying the disc, the physical disc. But which you do have on your Etsy store.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you.
So but yeah, you guys post that stuff up. You post a lot of behind the scenes content. Like pretty much everything that you guys have put out, I'm sure is going to be in the making of stuff in on the disc as well. So
Yeah.
but it's been fun watching that as a fan of being able to see the work um come about, getting to
Yeah.
see those little extra scenes and things, even the stuff that you're not showing on the Instagram and stuff. So I
Yeah.
definitely think it's worth it, especially for $5 a month. It's it's
Right.
it's it's pennies for the content that you guys give. So that's
Yeah, we
great.
try to provide a lot of content, and if not twice a week, like three times,
Yeah.
most. So it'll be like, especially right now since we're making Onlyfangs, I'll post, behind the scenes video, behind the scenes pics, and yeah, they will be as we make them. Like, I mean, I remember
Yeah.
this one time we got home from a shoot. I think it was the Vista Point shoot, and I think that night I had posted some behind the scenes video of us shooting out in the and at the very end of the movie, we have a red Cadillac that the girls take
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And so I posted that stuff like that same night. It's like this, we just got this stuff. We just
Wow.
shot,
Yeah.
got home. And that's how I tried to do it throughout the whole shooting of this movie. Whenever we're on location, we shoot stuff, load it up, post it, so our fans, our patrons can feel the making of the movie as it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, other people will get to see it when they watch it behind the scenes, later when it comes out. But for the patrons, they get it first and they get full access
Yeah.
and yeah, a lot of other stuff that if you're not a fan that buys physical media, but you just buy stuff, you just watch stuff streaming, this is for like the super fan to see the behind the scenes
Yeah.
making. And pretty soon we're going to start doing our own podcast again, and those will
Yeah.
be on there as well because we have a lot to talk about that we haven't talked about in our own podcast. I think we stopped before we started doing Murdercise, so we still have
Right.
Murdercise stuff to talk about aside from Onlyfangs. So we got a
Yeah,
lot to catch up on.
I know. I'm trying to juggle a podcast and make a movie. We're like, what are we thinking? Like, that's way too much. Way too much
Right.
work.
Yeah. Like work, doing the movie, trying to do a podcast. Yeah. Something's got to
Yeah,
give.
Yeah, but we
exactly.
are going to bring it back because we know people want to hear about it, and there's a lot of stuff that we just, you know, need to get into, like more time to get into,
Yeah.
which will
So
Yeah.
if they want to listen to us ramble on about behind the scenes, they can.
Yeah, and I just did a little writing process video too the other day, so do more of that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. No, as a film fan, somebody who, is a is an ex-film student himself. Yeah, I like seeing that kind of stuff because it's just like,
Cool.
okay, yeah, this is stuff I could have done if I had
Yeah.
the time and didn't have kids and stuff. So
Right.
You're out there keeping the
so
world going.
Yeah.
yeah,
Salute to
yeah.
you.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's next for you guys? Do you guys already have the next movie? I'm assuming it's the Wrestle Babes is the next one,
It
possibly.
won't be I don't think it'll be the next one just because
Oh,
it's so
okay.
huge. I think we
Okay.
want to take a little step back after this epic OnlyFangs
Oh.
movie and do something a little smaller. Because I think of like, Scorsese, when he was doing his films like New York, New York, and like, Taxi Driver, he would do like a little small movie like After Hours or something like just to
Right. Yeah.
kind of break away and then go
Palate
on and
cleanser.
tackle.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Before doing Goodfellas, do something small. So I was thinking maybe that might be a good system because we kind of do that. I mean, we did that with Streets of Vengeance. We went to Slashlorette Party and Murdercise. So before doing OnlyFans. So I think the next one will be some smaller. We have some ideas, some things that we're working on. But the Wrestle Babe script is done. I've showed it to a
Okay.
few people already. I might make some changes, before we actually go into production in that, but not a lot. Not a lot has changed. So That one's done. It is on the horizon. Just not sure yet.
Okay.
But
All
we
right.
have a few ideas, and I think we want to try something different than what we've done before.
It'll definitely be
Okay.
in our same voice, so it's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
something to be fun and silly and hopefully action
Yep.
and suspense, thrills of some kind.
Gory.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. There's always some thriller aspect, but something fun. Yeah,
That's
not
good.
as
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, not as huge. Something small. So
Yeah,
the
those guys.
Lost the Lost Soldadera remake, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps saying that,
I think that would be great. I
and
think that would be good.
maybe,
I think it would be good.
I'm like, I don't know. Do we have an audience for that?
I
We'll see.
mean,
Find out.
Yeah, we can
yeah,
find out.
exactly. Well, cool. Well, I think that's all. Oh no, I did want to ask you again real quick. There is you've mentioned, I think maybe it's just on the Patreon, but you have a potential upcoming release of your short films on disc as well.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was working on that before Onlyfangs turned up. I was like, oh, I
Right.
got a little bit of a, downtime, so let me work on that. So I compiled them together. I compiled the menu and everything, and then all of a sudden it was just like things started picking up for Onlyfangs again.
Right.
It's like again more shoots, and just back to back. So put that on the back burner. But yeah, I have put that together, our short films and some lost films that were uncompleted
Okay.
or
Yeah.
incomplete that will be on there as well.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff should we expect that's on there? Stuff like nighttime creatures.
Nighttime Creatures, After the Affair, which is our very first short film that we did with Delana. We have Devious, which is a short film that we did with two actresses from Streets of Vengeance immediately after Streets of Vengeance, Flora
Okay.
and Cassidy, a little thriller. We also have this movie that we tried to make called Brothers,
Hmm.
which was a movie that we shot. It was like an improv movie where we had the two main characters, they're brothers, they're going through this conflict, and we invited a bunch of people in a party, and we told them, just react to these two guys when they talk to you, and we'll just capture your real reaction. But the other people were actors too, but they just
Yeah.
didn't know what to say. Yeah,
They
the
didn't have
people
the script. Yeah.
right. They were just to react, but luckily they were actors, and it was like an experimental film. We just kind of kept the camera rolling and moving around, and it was really fun. But we just never got the chance to put it together because just other things came up.
Right.
So I'm gonna put that one together and release that for the first time on this
Yeah.
disc. And also we attempted to do another short film called Lost Dolls, which
Yeah,
that
I
put
saw
into
that one on Patreon. Yeah.
exactly. So we put it on Patreon, so that would be on the disc as well. And
And
I
then
wanted to do
Mexican Connection.
Mexican Connection. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That one too. And
Oh my
I don't.
gosh.
Yeah, I know it's hard to keep track of all this stuff.
You're saying them, and I'm like, oh yeah. It's crazy that you know them, and I'm like, what else did we do? That's so funny.
I've definitely scoured through the Patreon and the YouTube over the last couple of days to see what I needed to
Oh, that's
mention.
awesome.
So
Dang.
I know, and I was thinking maybe I want to do something special for it, like do another short or something that was mentioned before, but I don't know. Like it's hard, like because we've had people want us to do Dance Till You Die as a
oh
it was a
yeah.
really big trailer.
Yeah.
Want
The
us to do
trailer.
that
Yeah.
as its own movie. Also the movie that's in within Murdercise, the co-ed Butcher. We've had people
Yeah.
call for that one too with Jessa. So I don't know. Like I don't know if it'll be either of those two, but the thought of doing something fun and doing something new for that
Right.
disc is very appealing to me. So I
I
don't know.
did
Maybe
think
we'll
that
put
was
something
funny,
together.
the little trailers you guys did for both Cinco de Mayo, for because both of those have the all night long segments, so
Yep.
they have the little commercial breaks. So you did the Dance Till You Die
Hmm.
one, which was funny. And then the like it was so weird too, because when I was watching what was it? Was it yeah, it had to be Streets of Vengeance, right? Was the other
Hmm.
one.
Yeah.
That has the Slashlorette
Yep.
Yeah.
Party trailer in it, but it's like so not the same movie. And
Yeah.
I was just like, that's so funny when you watch it
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, that's not even the same movie. So
Right.
Exactly.
it's pretty
Right.
funny.
Because
And
it's supposed to be just a fake trailer
Yeah,
that we shot in one day, just to literally just shot the kills to
hmm
be
right,
a fake trailer. And then so many people were like, make this a real movie. And we're like, no, I personally fought against it for at least a couple of years. And I was like, I don't want to remake that? Like, we already
Yeah.
did that, but people kept asking and saying, can you just make it a real movie? Make it a real movie. And so
And it was your
finally,
next movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
so we're like, all right, let's see what we can do.
And it was an important stepping stone, between Streets of Vengeance and Murdercise. So it did
Right.
help a lot, and we expanded it, just made it
Yeah.
more complex and
My
things like that.
only caveat was to make it something really weird and unexpected so that it wouldn't just be
Yeah.
like a straightforward
The
what you would expect.
straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
whole storyline with the twist at the end
Yeah.
and stuff, I think people were just like, "What?"
Mhm.
So I thought that was something that's like, okay, if as long as it's like some really weird, unconventional
I think it
killers, like,
worked. Yeah.
yeah, it's not just some burnt up freak that's in the woods like what you would think it would be.
Yeah, which
They
was
Right.
originally.
right, like it wasn't their original fake trailer.
Mhm.
It's ends up being these guys who are in suits and sports coats with the pitch of their
Well,
401ks and
in a way, it's very Machete of you guys to have done that because the trailer
Right.
for Machete is totally different from the movie.
Right.
So,
yeah,
so it
exactly.
worked out well in that way. So,
As a matter of fact, thank you. Robert Rodriguez is definitely a huge inspiration to us. I don't know
oh
if
man, I
that
love
was
his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if that was already said earlier, but he's always been a huge inspiration to us as far as like the rebel without a crew, the
Yeah. Yeah.
just run and gun kind of attitude and
Yeah.
just do things low budget, no budget, and if you need to try and remake something later with a budget, maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely a huge inspiration as far as like the Mexican background too. That's something that's
Yeah.
important to us, and we've always been inspired by his 10-minute film schools. And
Oh yeah. I read his book early on too, as well, whenever I was in college
yeah,
going to film school. So yeah.
exactly. And so something like we were saying we wanted to make Cinco de Mayo before Robert Rodriguez did.
Yeah.
So
That
that
was a big tagline.
that was our big joke, saying like Robert Rodriguez is gonna make this movie someday, so we have to beat him to it. He's
Yeah.
gonna make a Cinco de Mayo
A
type
holiday slash.
holiday action slasher movie. So our whole joke behind it was like we had to make this before Robert Rodriguez
That's funny.
does. So he's always been a huge inspiration to us as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely need him to come back to that world and keep making more like,
I
you know,
know.
the good stuff that he used to make.
I
So
would love
the
that.
Mexico trilogy and more machetes and stuff,
Oh
you know.
my gosh. More Machete,
More Hustle Dawn.
more Salma Hayek, please.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Can't get
Yeah,
enough.
definitely. Definitely. No, I'm with you guys on that, you know. So
Big
well,
inspo.
thank you guys. I very much appreciate you guys coming on the show and talking to me for this
Thank
for my
you.
200th episode.
Yeah,
This was a
man,
lot
it's
of
an
fun.
honor.
200.
We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun, man. It's really a
Congratulations.
lot of great questions.
200.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has ever done this much research and homework on us. It feels really weird because I'm like, I forgot a lot of the work that we did until you mentioned it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect example of no one's ever going to see this. So make Mexican Connection. No one's going to know. No one's going to
Yeah.
care. So to be talking
I-
about it,
I'll
it's crazy.
I'll admit I haven't seen Mexican Connection yet. The only ones I
Okay,
think
good.
the only one that I it's on your YouTube, so I did plan to watch it.
You're not
But
missing anything.
I did watch Nighttime Creatures. I thought that one was pretty good. I think that's the
cool.
only one I've seen of the short film so far.
Nice. Again, that was a zero
The Lost
budget.
Dolls was the other one. So
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So these are like little no budget things that we experiment with on the side, and
right.
it's interesting to me that if anyone even knows about it and brings it up, it's like, whoa, you really did your homework.
Yeah.
Good for you. Excellent podcaster right here. You don't
Yeah.
get
Thank
to
you.
200 episodes.
I like to
Thank
claim
you so much.
I like to claim that I'm one of your super fans. So you know.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
No, definitely. You're a
Fan, that's
big
weird.
supporter of ours. We couldn't do this without you.
Well, yeah,
no.
I mean, the only reason we've even been able to reach this level of filmmaking is because anyone has taken a moment to take an interest in the stuff that we write and the stuff that we
Right.
make. So, I mean, we are eternally grateful for the people who, especially like you, that are doing the deep dive and going way back to the beginning and checking out our early work and watching our progression and kind of giving us the pat on the back, like, good for you. You keep going. I mean, that's honestly what keeps us going. So,
Yeah.
huge thank you to you and to everybody who's supported our journey and continues to. I mean, it truly inspires us every day just to keep being crazy
Yeah.
and trying.
That's awesome. I love it. You know, I'll keep supporting as long as I can. You know, because this is for me as a fan. It's been fun watching you guys grow and change. And again, I only came into this after the big hype on Murdercise, so I haven't even been there along the way. But I've gone back, to deep dive into all your guys' work. So it's been fun
Appreciate
going
it.
back and checking all that stuff out, and seeing that progression has been a lot of fun.
That's
Yeah.
So
amazing.
I appreciate it so
I
much.
appreciate that. Where are you
yeah.
located?
I live in Georgia, so
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Currently, I
Wow.
am from California. I was born in San Diego, so
Oh, okay. So you're
so I'm
SoCal.
a I'm a Cali boy. So
SoCal, Cali boy. Love that. We're way up here in the Central Valley. So
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I haven't been to Georgia. We should go out there sometime. East Coast living.
Yeah. Georgia's fun. It's south, but it's purple south, so it's not
Okay.
not that bad.
So we won't get
So
rid of it completely.
yeah.
Thank you so much for giving us your
Well,
time. Oh my gosh,
thank
the
you
time
guys.
difference. I didn't even realize you're on
Oh
Central.
no, I'm a late guy.
Night
I
owl?
stay up very late. Yeah, I'm a night owl. Let's say that would have been easier to say than I'm up late. But I'm up all night long. There you go.
Yes, the callback. I love it.
But thank you guys. I very much appreciate it. This was great. I had a great time talking to you. And hopefully I can get you guys on for something else in the future as well.
Anytime.
After the next movie.
Anytime, man.
Anytime.
We'll be back.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a good night, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.